Okay, now let's create the button component. From the finished version, you see that the button component is reused in a couple of places. It's a button, so it's a component. And from our HTML structure, you see that it's a standalone reusable piece from the way we name it. It has a class of buttons as the container, and in it we have button with modifier. So if I have up to 10 different button designs now, I could have them being modified inside the buttons class. To do this, let's set up a file to be called button.scss in the component folder. So here in the component folder, I'm going to create a class and I will call it button.scss. See, I don't have to call it buttons, right? And this is a file. Now, so I first target the button class. And the simple thing I need here is that I want to set its display to flex. By setting the display to flex here, all the buttons in it, no matter how many, will be arranged side by side. Then the next thing I will do is to create the button. So I can do this button, and the button, I want this button right now is, being used here and this anchor tag, but I want to write in such a way that it can also be used on an HTML button. That's HTML button per se. This is an anchor tag, but I'm, styling it as a button. Now, if you look at our base.scss, we already have font size for anchor tag. But because I may use this same button on an HTML button, let me also ensure that I have a font size defined. Otherwise, if I know I'm going to use it for only anchor tag, I may not need to define a font size since I already have a font size of 1.5 rem defined in the base.scss. So, but I want to define it here again in case I use this thing for an HTML button. And I want to have a padding 1.5 rem up and down and 2 left and right. I want to have the font width bold. I want to make it have a margin right, say 2 rem. That should be too much. I think 1 rem should be okay. 1 rem. And again, because I can use it on an HTML button, I will take out that default border. Border none. So this is the button. Now the different variations of it, I want button primary. Everything that has to do with buttons here, I will have them defined in this file. Button primary will have a background color of color primary. And if that's the case, it means its color will be white. The same for button secondary, color white. Finally, button tertiary. Now, if you remember that color tertiary is a light gray color, so I can have a text color of white in there from our finished version now. Let's check. I think I have the color primary here. So I will set its color primary. Okay. So these are the 3 variations that I have. And in your case, you may have 1001. This is how you will define all of them. Now, I have a common denominator to them, which is color here, white, white. One way I could, well, it doesn't really matter much. One way I could optimize things a bit is to say button primary, button secondary, and say color and color white. I'm a fan of a grade D fine grain refactoring, but at times over refactoring could be an issue, so I take out this. But of course, it doesn't hurt if you leave it like this. So let me save this. Now, by doing this now, I don't really need to go do anything in my home.scss for this home hero. I don't need to do anything because these are reusable pieces and I already have them directly in the HTML. So if our setting works now, we should have it automatically applied. All right. So let's check things out and refresh. What's happening? Oh, okay. Because here is a new file I just created. I need to add it to my, let me close this. I need to add it to my main.scss. Don't forget, while we're creating this file, I commented this out. So now let me open it and add the file we just created. And button.scss. And I guess I actually name it button. So let me follow the best practice I told you about. It's not big deal, but just to add an underscore. I told you the underscore doesn't do anything. But since that's what most developers do, let's do it also, so we don't get too rebellious. Okay, so I think this should work now. Let me refresh. Where a part of it is working, what is happening? Let's check. Because I can see that magic kicked in. Okay, this is spelled wrong. This is supposed to be tertiary. Still not working. What could be the issue? As it is, I think I can see the margin and padding is the background that is the issue here. Oh, I think I've seen the issue. So this is supposed to be dash secondary. There you go. So finally, it's working. Okay, I think we have a tiny border radius and this hover class. So let's say that border radius 1 rem. Again, you see the browser prefaces automatically added, and now you can apply that hover effect. What I want is padding should change. And let me still keep 1.5, but this time let's set this one to 2.5. This is not $sign. And also for the last child, or last of type, I want the margin right 0. There you go. We have it working now. So that's the reusable button created.